Do you feel discouraged when it comes to songwriting? Or maybe you've hit a songwriting rut where you're just not happy with what you're producing? Well, stick around because in this video, I'm going to share with you 10 tips for slaying songwriting discouragement. Hey, I'm Reagan Ram with OrpheusAudioAcademy.com, helping you make better music and grow your fan base online. And before I dive into these 10 tips, I just want to share with you that you can grab my free hit creation checklist guide in the description below. This will walk you through the 9 elements that all the hit songwriters tend to have in each and every hit song that they write. So if you're just wanting to get some songwriting ideas on, what are the elements that make a hit song and what are the elements of songs that people love to listen to, then this guide might help give you some ideas. So just grab that in the description below or go to OrpheusAudioAcademy.com/hit. All right, so how can we slay songwriting discouragement? So tip number 1 is to have the right mindset and realize you're not going to write a great song every time, and this is okay. In fact, you might actually write more bad songs than you write good songs. And again, this is okay. And you want to focus on being prolific rather than trying to write a great song every time. And I'll get more into that in a second. But one great example of this is Pablo Picasso, the artist. I'm not really a huge fan of his art. However, he's still considered to have created 100 masterpieces. And that is a lot of, highly regarded art. That said, he published, created a lot more art than what's actually regarded as a masterpiece. In fact, he created 13,500 paintings, over 100,000 graphic prints or engravings, 34,000 book illustrations, and over 300 sculptures and ceramics. So he created, over 147,000 total artworks, and yet only 100 of them were considered masterpieces. So that's like, if we can consider that in the music world, a masterpiece being like a hit, he had a hit rate of, 0.068%. So that's pretty darn low, but he's still considered a great artist. And this is because he focused on being prolific rather than trying to be great with every piece of artwork he created. So if you do the same with your music and just focus on creating a lot of music, then not only are you going to get better faster, but you're eventually going to have some great songs in there, right? It's just the law of averages there. So really you want to see is every song written is a win. So you want to shift your mindset so where you're seeing, activity and taking action as the win rather than the result. Because in the end, we really cannot control, outcomes and results. As humans, there's very, very rare that we can actually control what the outcome or results are going to be of a certain action. But all we can control are our actions and our output. So just focus on taking action and making that how you grade yourself. Now, tip number 2 is to just write a lot of songs. This will help you get over discouragement very quickly, because if you're just in the habit of creating a lot of songs, then it's really not going to bother you if you write a song that you don't like, or you've put together something that you think is garbage, because hey, I'm going to have another shot tomorrow, or the next week I'm going to write another song. So it doesn't really matter. You can just keep writing those songs, and so it's really harder to get discouraged. I found this to be especially true of myself. I've written hundreds and hundreds of songs, and if I'm working on a song and I don't find that it's very good, I don't really care, because I know I've got another shot coming up. And so just write a lot of songs. And also, what you think is a bad song might not actually be a bad song, right? The band Toto, right? They didn't think that the song Africa should be on their album, but they decided to include it. And now it's like probably their most popular song of all time. Really awesome song. And right, they didn't think it was that good and should be on the album. So you don't have to publish every song that you write, right? You're going to be writing a lot of music. You don't have to publish every one, but maybe you should, because maybe what you don't think is very good, other people will enjoy. Tip number 3 for slaying discouragement is to remember why you write songs. So why did you get into songwriting and music in the first place? Is it to bring joy to others, or is there a message you want to share? What is it you love about songwriting? And if you can get reconnected with that, then all this discouragement can kind of fall by the wayside, because you're focused on what your goal is and what your mission is. And just you can enjoy then the process of songwriting again by doing this and resetting your mindset. Tip 4 is to listen to older successful songs you've written, right? Go back to those songs that you're really proud of or that you really enjoy, and you can remember, hey, I can do this, right? I am good at songwriting. Look at this great song I've written. And so by listening to those, maybe you can break it down, like what is good about this song, and see if you can take an element from that going forward into a new project you're working on. And so this can just help encourage you and remotivate you to start writing. Tip number 5 is to create yourself a songwriting guide, right? I have a guide on the Hit Creation Checklist. You can grab right in the description below. It's free. That, I looked at who are the top songwriters. There's only a few songwriters out there that have basically all the hits, right? So even, right, you might see a lot of different pop stars out there, a lot of different artists that have hit songs, but within those songs, right, there's basically a few songwriters that all these different artists have worked with to help them write their songs that become these #1 hits. And so I looked at, well, what do all these songs have in common? So I kind of created myself a guide using that. And that's what you can get for free in the description below. But, not everyone likes hit music. Not everyone likes pop music. I'm not especially a pop music fan myself. So for what your genre is and for the style of music you're creating, maybe you should make yourself a songwriting guide for what are the elements you want to include. What are some tips and strategies you've learned along the way? So that way it's kind of a cheat sheet to help you as you go to create, so that you can get the ideas flowing and get writing again. Tip number 6 is to complete songwriting exercises. So if writing a whole song seems a little too daunting, maybe just focus on some exercises or drills you can do to get better at individual aspects of songwriting. So this could be like, how many melodies can you write? Write 10 melodies or something, or come up with, 10 different interesting chord progressions, or 10 different bass lines, and make them see what you can do to make them more interesting, right? So these are different things you can do to be songwriting, be getting better, be improving without having to go and write a whole song. But you might find by doing this, you start getting other ideas and whole songs start creating themselves. Tip number 7 is to collaborate with others. I've always grown the fastest with my songwriting and music production when I've worked with other artists, because you just learn so much and you get different perspectives than if you're just in your own head. So try to collaborate with other people. And this is best if you can be in person, or at least be seeing how they work, because that's where you get the best ideas. But if you can't do that, you can do Zoom calls, you can do virtual meetings with these people to collaborate on music. That way you can really learn from them and get some new ideas that you can apply to your own songwriting. Tip number 8 is to listen to music you hate, because after all, right, if music can be that bad and still be published and still have fans, surely you're not so bad yourself if you can just do something better than that music that you hate. This is kind of the opposite of listening to music you love, or music, your own music that you produce that you love, because when you listen to that music you hate, right, it's hard not to think, hey, I can do better than that. And so if they can create music like this and have it be popular, surely I can't be too bad. So this is kind of another good way to kind of remember that you're not as bad as you think you are. You actually can write good music. Tip number 9 is simply to take a break rather than trying to plow through the songwriting process when you're stuck. Take a break, and especially if you can go and do something physical and get outside, so maybe go on a walk or go on a run or do something, because that's physical, because that can help clear your mind out and help give you new ideas, so that when you go back to songwriting, you have ideas flowing. And my final tip is to actually teach songwriting to others, because as studies have shown, we actually retain the most and actually learn the best when we are teaching other people. And so by actually, maybe finding someone to mentor, someone to teach, this can actually be another stream of income too for you as a music artist. You're actually learning more about songwriting yourself and becoming a better songwriter by teaching others. So this is another great tip if you're wanting to slay that songwriting discouragement and get to the point where you can become a prolific songwriter. Now, if I could share just one last bonus tip to kind of sum everything up, and it is to don't emotionally attach yourself to your results. Instead, attach yourself to your efforts in the activities that you are doing. Because again, you can't control those results, but you can control how much effort you're putting into writing songs, right? How consistently you're sitting down to write music. So focus on that. Don't focus on the results. Just focus on writing more music, and you'll get better, and you'll find that discouragement is a thing of the past. So with that being said, again, grab my free hit song creation checklist in the description below. Otherwise, if you want more tips for songwriting, just check out my playlist that's on the screen right now, which will give you more tips and tutorials for writing great music. All right, have a great day and keep creating.